Happy Monday morning, pre-algebra. So it is St. Patrick's Day, and in the order of St. Patrick's Day, we'll do a special joke that has absolutely nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. But what do you call a pig that does karate? Pig that does karate? It's called a pork chop. Hoo-yah! There it is. All right, welcome back from spring break. I had a really restful time. Hopefully you had an enjoyable time too. I just know that you coming back, you just want to jump right into pre-algebra. I know we left off with a test. I was really pleased with how well you all did on that test. And unreal to think about it, we have 9 weeks left of school. Only 9. Can you imagine it's just seemed like a few weeks ago we just got back from winter break. So I know that time will fly. But we're already a minute into it, so let's get started. Hopefully you already saw to turn to page 481 in your textbook. I think today will be kind of a review for most of you. If not, then just kind of bear with me. We'll try to keep this video a little bit shorter. What we're doing is we're going to be going into exponents, looking at problems that deal with exponents. So I wrote a few things here. This is also in your textbook. Looking here now. But here's an example of a number with an exponent. So just to help you understand the different terms, we have 3 different things. We have a base, power, and exponent. So the base is the number that's on the bottom. It's whatever has the exponent attached to it. So think of the base as the bottom, base lower, and then exponent upper. It's above, it's attached to the base, and we call the whole thing a power. Everything, that's why we have this bracket. The whole thing is called a power. Okay? So we would say it's the power of 5, and the exponent of 3. Sorry, 5 to the power of 3. So again, what that means, and just a reminder, is it means it's 5 times 5 times 5. We're multiplying 5 by itself 3 times. So if we're going to write it out, that's what this equals. Alright, so just a few examples. I think you guys can get it, but if you look at A, we have 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. There we go. So we have 4, and it's written 5 times. So we know that it would be 4 to the power of 5. Our exponent is 5. There it is. Alright, now let's do something a little bit more tricky. What about B? We see B, we have negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. So we have a negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. Well, we're not really solving it yet. We are simply just writing it as an exponent form. So we are going to write negative 8 to the power of 3. Now, we'll get to why it's important, why we do these parentheses. We're going to get to that in a moment. That's when we start solving our problems. Right now, we're just setting them up. So that's the example of when you're given a bunch of numbers, can you turn it into exponent form? If we turn the textbook page, go to the back, we'll do the opposite. Or not really the opposite, excuse me. What about if we have expressions like variables? So you look at example A, and we have y. Y times y times y times y times y times y. How many y's? Why are there so many y's? We have y to the power of 6. There's 6 of them, so y 6. Also, look at B. Again, this can be kind of tricky. Again, we have our parentheses. We have to be careful and pay attention to what's inside our parentheses. We have k plus 2 being multiplied 3 times. Sorry, taking a little while. So, make sure that we have our parentheses. What is that? I don't even know. So we have k plus 2 being multiplied 3 times. So we're going to have k plus 2 in the parentheses with the exponent of 3. Okay, did you get that? You kind of see we're counting how many numbers there are. I feel like you got it. Okay, now let's go down to the real world problem um, at the bottom of the page. So here's our example. It says beach volleyball. The playing area for beach volleyball includes the playing court and the free zone. Evaluate each expression to find the area of the playing court and the free zone. So it says the playing court is a rectangle with an area of 2 to the 7th power square meters. So it's asking us to actually solve. What is that going to be? So if we were actually going to write this out, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Yep, there it is. What do we get? So we have 2 times 2 is 4 times 2. Let's see. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16 times 2 is 32 times 2 is 64 times 2 is 128. And make sure that we have our proper, we're not talking about feet, we are talking about meters square. We're talking about area. All right, so you could do that. You could do this long drawn out step, but as I know all of you, you want to do the quick way. What is the quickest way with the least amount of work and writing? So if you take out your calculator, you notice you have the exponent button, and you'll either see something like a variable y with an x as the exponent, so or it may have x with the exponent of something else. I'm not sure what it looks like on your calculator, but my calculator button looks like this. There's a y, and then there's an x for the exponent. So the way that I would do this is 2 is our base number, so I'm going to write punch 2 in my calculator. Then I'm going to push this button, and then we are now plugging in our exponent, and our exponent is 7, so I'm going to push 7 now. And I click the equal sign, and I do get 128. Make sure you add in the notation there. All right? So that's how you solve it. If you have any questions on how it works in your calculator, please raise your hand, and I will come and help you and save the day. All right, let's move on. Let's finally look at our last example, number 4. Now I'm back at the top of page 483, and this is where you'll start your assignment. But now we're going to be plugging in some numbers. So it says, evaluate x squared plus y cubed. Cubed is whenever you have a 3. And it says if x equals 6 and y equals -2. All right, pretty easy enough. We just plug in what we know. Instead of an x, we plug in 6. So now we have 6 squared, or 6 to the power of 2, plus, now we have to be careful about how I write this. If I were going to write it like this, it's kind of tricky, because if I were going to punch that into a calculator, it's not going to do the math right. So I need to make sure I have those parentheses. So now I'm going to plug in our numbers into our calculator. Now I already know 6 times 6 is 36, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to type in my parentheses sign, then my negative sign, 2, and then I have my y, my punch button, the y with the x variable, and I'm going to do 3. And I think I did it wrong. -2. There it is. No, why did it go away? Let's see, maybe it'll work this time. It's not working for me. I'm going to pause this real quick. Alright, I got it to work, and because I'm just going to write this out, I had to make sure I typed in we had our -2 in the parentheses in my calculator. But again, just to kind of show you, we have -2 times -2 times -2. So we have -2 times -2, which is +4. But when I do it again, +4 times -2 equals -8. So that is where we now have plus -8. 36 plus -8 is going to be 28. And that is our final answer. So again, all we did is we plugged in what we knew. They told us, they gave us this information that x equals 6 and y equals -2. So we just plug in that information and then solve. Okay? If you have any further questions, please raise your hand for help. As always, do your best, work hard, and I will see you in real life.